WandaVision may be over now, but Marvel just keeps on rolling with the start to another amazing series. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is finally here. The first episode is now available on Disney Plus, and man, it's good. Like, it's definitely a slow start to the series, and it is crazy to think, like, wow, there's only 5 episodes left, and in this first episode, Bucky and Sam never even crossed paths. There was no mention at all of Baron Zemo or Sharon Carter. But still, I like what we're seeing so far. So we got some stuff to talk about here. We're going full spoilers, so be warned. But let's go ahead and jump into this thing. So we start off the episode with Sam, and he is with the shield, and he's really contemplating, like, what to do. And then it flashes over to a really cool action sequence with Falcon in his brand new suit, and he's got Red Wing with him, of course, and he is battling the LAF. Now, I'm not sure what that stands for, but they're creepy bad guys in, like, flying squirrel suits. So that was pretty cool. And we do also see the return of Batroc. He is kind of their leader here. And based off set photos, I believe he's going to be appearing again. We already knew he was going to be in the series, but I believe he's going to show up later as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. And really just overall a cool action sequence that I enjoyed seeing there. Then Sam, he goes to Washington and gives a speech at a Captain America museum unveiling. I guess you could say we thought it was going to be his funeral, and I mean it kind of is, but at the same time it's more or less just the museum. And Sam actually donates the shield to this museum, and then we see that Rhodey is actually there as well. Again, another surprise came in that we actually knew about ahead of time, but he talks to Sam after this ceremony, and he's like, you know, you should have taken up the mantle. And Rhodey thinks he should have been Captain America. I do too, and hopefully he still will. I think that's probably what will happen. But then Sam just goes on saying that thing again, like, it felt like it belonged to somebody else. And I mean, like, it does, but, you know, the mantle can be passed on. So that was pretty interesting there. I enjoyed seeing that. But then we actually flash on over to Bucky, and we start up his story, where we start off actually with some Winter Soldier flashbacks, and he's, you know, killing people, doing some not so good stuff. And then Bucky wakes up. Turns out it was just a dream, and he is majorly suffering from PTSD. And this is something I'm excited to see with this character, is just how he's going to deal with life after the Avengers, because the Avengers aren't really necessarily a thing anymore, and now he has all this time on his hands, and now he has to just be a civilian. So it was pretty interesting that now he's having all these nightmares, he's going to therapy, and apparently he's also been pardoned, which makes sense because he was there and, you know, helped save the universe and everything. But now that he's finally free, he doesn't know what to do. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and we do see that he has one friend. His name is Yori, and he's an older guy. And they go out to have lunch, and then Bucky actually ends up getting a date off of that on accident. It was all thanks to Yori. So then Bucky goes on this date. It's at this Chinese food restaurant, and they play Battleship. They get to know each other a little bit. I don't think we ever found out her name. But then all of a sudden, Bucky just leaves, because then he goes to visit Yori, and Yori, something we find out about this character is that his son died. His son was killed. And then a really crazy moment is that when Bucky shows up to his apartment, he sees this shrine to Yori's son inside of his apartment, and the picture of his son is the same guy that Bucky killed in that Winter Soldier flashback. And that was something really surprising that I did not at all see coming, but it was such a huge connection. And then he just walks away because he has to suffer with that. Like, he literally killed this guy's son. And wow, like that was just really cool to see. That was all we saw for Bucky in this episode, but now let's get back to talking about Sam, because Sam, after he does his whole ceremony thing in Washington, he goes back to visit his family. And we meet his sister, Sarah, and her kids and everything. But she's having trouble keeping their fishing business afloat, really. And things are not going good here. So Sam's like, all right, we'll go get a loan. You know, I'm an Avenger. This should be no problem. But then turns out the rules have changed post-blip, so they're not able to get a loan. So I'm interested to see if they're going to be able to save the family business. I mean, obviously we hope so, but I don't know. But a new character we get introduced to in this episode is Joaquin Torres, which is pretty interesting. He seemed like a pretty cool character here. And in the comics, Joaquin Torres is actually a character that takes up the mantle of the Falcon. So if Sam does become the new Captain America, now we have someone to take up the mantle of Falcon as well. So I think that's some pretty awesome setup there as well. And so he is friends with Sam, and he was in the Air Force and everything, and he is investigating the Flag Smashers, this new cult group, and he has a little bit of information on them, like how they prefer the time before the blip, where they basically had all the power and everything. So that was pretty interesting. And in his investigation, he actually finds a full-on gathering, like a full-on group meeting of the Flag Smashers, and then it turns out a bank gets robbed, and everybody has these masks on, and like things are just going crazy, and he tries to stop them, but there's this one Flag Smasher that's super strong, and when Sam is told about him from Torres, he starts thinking that maybe he's a super soldier, and I think so too, and that'd be pretty cool, and that could be how Zemo ties into this story, because he knows so much about the super soldiers. So I thought that was pretty cool. Torres gets pretty beat up and injured there, but he's still alive, so I'm really liking that character so far, and I'm excited to see if he does actually become the next Falcon. But then the big cliffhanger for this episode is with Sam, where he and his sister, they turn on the TV, and it turns out a new Captain America has been introduced to the world, or to the United States of America, and he has the actual shield that Sam just donated to the museum. So this is going to be a big thing going forward, and obviously we know that is Wyatt Russell playing John Walker. They don't say that here in the episode, but this just gets me really excited to see where this goes from here, because we haven't really seen much from John Walker in the trailers, like, at all. So I'm excited to find out more about this character, and if he is actually evil, or like he is in the comics, or if he's more of an anti-hero. I don't know, but I'm excited. And this episode, again, not much happened, nothing huge, but it really gives you a feel of what this series is going to be about, and I really enjoyed it. So guys, of course, let me know down in the comments below what you think about episode 1, the premiere of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit the subscribe button so I can keep up to date on everything that goes on in the Marvel life.